Yeah, so let's say somebody who wants to get into the maker space, who wants to start making these projects, what do you think are like the most important skills to have?
I do feel like a lot revolves around 3D printing right now. So I would say like some knowledge of 3D printing or 3D design would be very helpful. Even if you're not 3D printing, it helps to have like a 3D mock-up. I knew that I wanted to make a Pokeball. Like I want it to not just be like this printed thing that looks really cool. I want it to do something. Like take it past that that limit. So I was like, well, I need it to like open on its own, and I needed to make all these sound effects and wobble and stuff. Just all of these different like mechanical components going into this very small ball.
How much of it is pre-planned versus kind of just figuring it out as you go?
So it's funny because people always think that I know what I'm doing, and I really don't. First animatronic I've ever built, I have no idea what I'm doing. It gave me problems literally the entire way through. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Looking to the future, what do you envision like for the Kiara's Workshop brand?
I mean, everybody says this, but like Adam Savage level, where it's just like, oh, Kiara made this thing, let's go watch. I mean, it doesn't look much different than what I'm doing now. Because I think where I'm at right now is kind of awesome. I guess I just want to be able to do more and like get more content out. I never imagined I would be in this position, like ever. It's just kind of like I'm making things I want to post on the internet, and like it's cool if people enjoy it. It still feels like a hobby. Like I feel like I can build whatever I want. Like I'm in a really fortunate spot where I stumbled upon this thing on accident, and now it's kind of like the dream job for me. Hi, I'm Kiara. I run Kiara's Workshop. I do a lot of 3D printing, and I bring fiction to reality by making like functional props and costumes.
What was kind of your initial like inspiration and spark to do what you do? Because it's definitely very unique, and you know you do some really, really cool projects. So how do you get into it to start with?
Definitely Iron Man. But like the original roots came from an art background. So I was really passionate about like portraiture. Like I was drawing people a lot when I was a kid. Ever since I was like 3, I was drawing. So I've been in the art scene for a while. And like towards the end of high school, I started to really fall in love with Marvel. I was already a Spider-Man fan, but I think middle school and high school was when Iron Man kind of clicked for me. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to engineering school. And so I set out to become an engineer, which very quickly did not work out. I'm not very good at like, calculus, chemistry, all that really high, like big brain power stuff. So I switched to art for college and then gradually made my way over to production design for film. So that's like full art department, like set design, construction, costumes, makeup, all that stuff. So
you were in school for production design?
Yeah, I graduated like a year and a half ago. So that was that was kind of what got me started. And I didn't end up getting an engineering degree, but I kind of ended up doing it anyway, which is kind of cool, but like my own way.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of engineering that goes on in your work, but it's there's one of my first episodes I recorded was with another guy who does like Pokemon. He's like a maker. There's a lot of Pokemon 3D printed related stuff.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he went to school for like software engineering, but now like he does like all these things like, and he uses more like actual engineering skills in what he does now than like what he was in school for.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's all kind of trial and error, I guess.
Yeah, I was really into like the engineering stuff. I went to NIU very briefly for engineering, and we did a little bit of like programming, a little bit of like CAD design, and so I was like, that's really fun. Let's keep going with it. And then it just got like, it was just all
then the
math
kicked in.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do this. So then I switched to computer science for like a semester, and I swear to God, I've never cried more in my life. Like that was like the most traumatic major I've ever experienced. I left that so fast. Like casually, it's okay, but like what I was doing was not fun. It was. I have a lot of respect for people in that line of work because it's really hard. It's way harder than I ever imagined.
Engineering. You chose engineering because like you wanted to make things. That was kind of like the idea.
Yeah, I wanted to like design things, work with my hands, like do that kind of stuff. Not the math. The math was not what I signed up for.
Yeah. So how'd you find production design? Because that's definitely a far pivot from engineering. As in the outcome is what you were looking for, but the path is not the same.
It was weird because when I chose engineering, I had no interest in like attending like job fairs and stuff for engineering. I was like, that's not what I want to do. I want to make things. I want to make things for film. because I just loved movies and like practical effects and stuff like that. And Nick, my boyfriend, who at the time was like a friend of mine, he went to Columbia College and they do a lot of film stuff and production design, and he also majored in production design. So I was like, that's really cool. Like I wanna do that stuff too. Like that's exactly what I wanted to do when I signed up for engineering. Um, Except there's like no math involved and you literally just get to make things all the time. So that was kind of what led me to that decision. It just kind of fit perfectly into what I wanted to do.
Nice. So you went for production design, and then your whole kind of online presence that you kind of like built up for yourself, was that kind of happening while you were in school? You were just kind of doing projects?
Yeah, so I started at the end of high school. So shortly after I graduated, I kind of started posting on social media. So that was like, what, 2018? And ever since then, I've just been kind of working on like social media stuff. I did have a part-time job for a little bit. Like I worked at PetSmart. It wasn't serious, but it's funny because it has become a full-time job for both me and Nick. Like we do our prop shop on the side, and then I do like my social media stuff full-time now. But it was really kind of a grind to like get it to that point, especially with school going on. It's like hard to prioritize what you want to work on. And that's also like, it was one of my downfalls for engineering, I think, because I was like, I could be really good at math. I probably could study and like really learn the material, but I don't want to. Like, I want to work on this stuff instead. And so I think that also helped make my decision.
Yeah. How much of the social media and YouTube and stuff, how much of it was kind of organic or quote unquote like accidental versus how much of it was like intentional of kind of developing the following that you have?
Yo, it was completely unintentional. Like I never imagined I would be in this position, like ever. Like it was just kind of like I'm making things I want to post on the internet, and like it's cool if people enjoy it. It really started to kind of like amass a following, I think 3-ish years ago. I think was I when I hit like 100K, and then I was like, wow, like this is something that I could probably do something with. And it still feels like it still feels like a hobby, which is weird because like now it's also a job, but it still has that like I feel like I can build whatever I want and people still like to see what I do, and that's kind of really cool. Like I'm in a really fortunate spot where I stumbled upon this thing on accident, and now it's kind of like the dream job for me. So it's really cool.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I'm curious also, you mentioned the prop shop. So you guys do for production, you guys are making props?
Yeah, so we have a website and an Etsy account, and we sell like it's like practical effects, like LED props you can wear on your hands so it looks like you're on fire, and like we also do Ghost Rider kits, custom commissions. Occasionally we'll get hit up for like small film production stuff. We work for a local bar that we also make like these drink vessels for them. So we do a ton of like custom stuff. But that's like, it's like a half and half split. So I spend my time working on social media, and then I switch over to that. And then we both share kick effects, but the social media stuff is more of like my thing.
Which do you enjoy more of the two?
It depends on the project. Because there's sometimes there's commissions that are like really, really difficult, and like they just get kind of mentally draining at a certain point. But that goes for both. Like I'll get a brand deal and it'll be like a super tight deadline, and it'll just absolutely wreck me. And that's when I would prefer to work on the kick stuff, because it's like, okay, I can just like work on this commission that I know how to make and I've made like 20 times. So sometimes it's fun to like make something that you know how to make and you know you won't mess up, and then sometimes it's also fun to challenge yourself. So it really depends. It's a tough one to answer.
Yeah. So can you kind of walk us through like your process for a build from kind of the initial idea through the final product?
Okay. So again, it depends on the project, but let's just talk about like the Pokeballs, for example. So I knew that I wanted to make a Pokeball, but like, you know, there's a functional aspect to it, and that's what I really like to tap into. Like I want it to not just be like this printed thing that looks really cool. I want it to do something. Like take it past that like that limit that I feel like a lot of people don't cross most of the time. And with Pokeballs, I think that's like a really unique thing, because I've seen like there's a brand that makes like a functional Pokeball, but it's just like a metal like die cast ball that lights up and opens. Yeah. So I was like, well, I needed to like open on its own, and I needed to make all these sound effects and wobble and stuff. And at one point I was trying to figure out the shrinking thing, but that's just like, that's too much for me. So I stuck with what I knew I could actually tackle. And so I guess my first step was like researching, like, you know, how to get it to wiggle, how to make it, you know, sync up the sound effects with the lights and the vibrating and stuff. Just all of these different like mechanical components going into this very small ball. So the researching takes a decent amount of time because I'm a little slow and I like to explore every option. So it'll probably be like a weekish of research, and then I start ordering parts. I start prototyping, so I'll make it like a brief 3D model that kind of encapsulates what I want it to look like, and then see how things fit. I'll make adjustments. Once I have that down, then I'll start like the wiring, the programming, the actual like test running of the thing, and then sometimes I need to make more revisions until I get like a final product I'm satisfied with, and then that's like the sanding and painting stage, the assembly stage, and then the finished product. So it usually goes similar to that for every project, but like obviously different projects have different demands. Like if I was building a different Iron Man suit or something, there's a lot more that goes into it than just like a little ball.
Right.
But yeah.
Right, for sure. So how much of it is like pre-planned versus just kind of not intuition, but like kind of just figuring it out as you go?
So it's funny because people always think that I know what I'm doing, and I really don't. A lot of it is like, yeah, I want to do that. Let's figure out how to do that. And it gets to the point where it's like you want to do something so bad that you just figure out how to do it. So I kind of, at this point in my career, I kind of can figure out how to do something before I even start researching it. Like I kind of have a rough idea of like components and how things need to move. But there is always still a little bit of research involved, just because like I don't know everything, obviously. There's always room to grow, but we can pretty quickly like kind of start to piece together a build before we even start researching.
Because you just from the experience you have already, like you know kind of you know what it needs roughly.
Yeah, like boards and like servos and stuff like that, like power requirements. Yeah. What's like the most challenging build that you completed? Every time somebody asks me that, I feel like the answer is different because I take on something else that becomes the new like most challenging build. Oh man, I have to think about this one. Oh, I completely forgot about Pikachu. Oh my god, Pikachu. Yeah.
That was the most tricky.
Yeah, Pikachu was so hard. Oh my god, that was really hard. So Pikachu V1, first animatronic I've ever built. Unless you like count the Pokeballs, which I don't really count the Pokeballs, but first animatronic I've ever built. Have no idea what I'm doing. I literally just kind of went into it like I'm gonna figure this out. It was very, very difficult. It gave me problems literally the entire way through. Like the fur, the programming, the 3D printing, like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
V2 was similar. It was faster, and I kind of knew a little bit more about like what I was doing, but it was still like it was very difficult.
What was so difficult about it?
Okay, for V1, the challenge was like I just didn't know what I was doing. So I designed like basically it had like an underskeleton, and that's where all the servos were. Or no. It was like an understructure that had all the servos mounted to it, and then there's like a shell that fit around it. And my plan was to cover it with like just fur, like a stretchy fur fabric, so I didn't have to worry about like silicone or casting or anything.
Yeah.
The fur that I ordered, I was gonna dye and like turn it yellow because it was only white, and the fur ended up being way too puffy, so he just looked like a swollen marshmallow, and I very quickly realized it was not going to work out. And I had to find like a new type of fur to cover him with, and it wasn't stretchy, so he just looked really stiff and weird. He looked kind of like possessed because like the eyes I cast, I had never cast resin eyes before, so the eyes that I cast were like flat and had bubbles in them, and he just looked like tweaked out. So
demonic.
Yeah, and like I think so that was really hard on me because I was trying to do this in like a month and like learn all this in a month. Programming the servos was really hard because I was doing it manually, like through Arduino, and like trying to figure out how to like sync everything together. And then I was doing voice activation. So when I said certain phrases, he would like animate a certain way, which was very hard. And then I added LEDs to it. So I just kept piling stuff on. And then, sound effects and all that. That took me like, I don't know, 3 weeks to like program. And I was like just losing my mind, like sitting up here for like 15 hours a day, like just trying to troubleshoot. And then, like at the end of it, I got sick because I pushed myself so hard. And I posted it everywhere and people hated it, which is like the final blow. Like things were already hard enough and just people were like, this looks scary, like take this down. And I was like, well, I tried my best. But so that was a nightmare. And then like literally like 3 weeks later, I was like, what if I just remade it? And I made it in time for C2E2, which was like a month away. I was like, what if I just do that? And I did it. So basically what I did the second time, I took a sculpt of Pikachu and I basically created like an underskull, which was like a smaller version of the sculpt that I mounted the servos to. And then that I skinned with like a foam latex. So I created like molds from the 3D print that I filled with UltraCal and then cast with foam latex, which was like so freaking hard. It was so difficult, especially because I don't have the setup for it. So I was using like a camping oven and a hot plate in my laundry room with like this like bowl mixer, and it was just a mess. It was so smelly. It was difficult. Like foam latex is one of the hardest casting materials to use, I think. And I just went straight into it with no experience, and so that was crazy. So I did that on top of like the animatronic, which was actually way easier this time because I used like an animatronic software that basically allows you to like map the servos to certain positions, and it auto writes the code for you. So that was extremely helpful.
Which software was that?
Bot Tango. It's
nice,
free.
Yeah.
So that's super helpful. That saved me a lot of time. It took me like 2 or 3 days to program it, so it wasn't bad.
Nice.
And then I flocked it and everything with fur flocking and that whole method. And I finished it the night before C2E2, like the day I was leaving.
Wow.
And I was like crashing out because I was like, this looks horrible. And like Nick had to come over and like save me because I was sitting here just crying so hard my ears were popping because it was just like I was freaking out. I'm like, I need to get this done. And I did, and it actually came out really good. So and people liked it this time.
It was really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
And it looked really, really great. So
Yeah,
that was your first animatronic, your first like attempt at animatronics.
Yeah.
Wow. I love
it was
animatronics.
a lot.
I really like. I want to like teach myself how to build animatronics because it's like they're so cool and so fun, and it's not a easy undertaking. That's for sure.
And I've built 3 over the last 3 months, which is way too many, and I'm gonna take a break from that now.
Yeah. What do you enjoy building? Like, what's kind of your favorite thing to create?
Right now it's Pokemon. I was a big Pokemon fan when I was a kid, and so I've kind of just given into it again, and so that's been a lot of fun. But I do think like I like suits of armor, so I'm getting back into the Iron Man game finally after like taking like 2 years hiatus. But I just like the feeling of being like encapsulated in armor. It feels cool.
Yeah. And it looks cool too, so it's a win-win.
Yeah.
No, I love like the Pokemon 3D prints. Like that's kind of my whenever I like start new projects, it's kind of disproportionately Pokemon. It's a little bit of a problem.
I started like seriously collecting again because like I'm kicking myself because I wish I would have collected more when I was a kid, because I have a collection from when I was really young, but it was so easy to get Pokemon cards back then, and now it's like you can't. I just drove around last weekend for like 2 hours trying to find Pokemon cards. I couldn't find anything, and it's like so depressing.
Yeah. But it's funny, like you see ones that like are like super valuable, and it's like, what do you mean? Like that's like that was when all the kids were playing on the playground, and like we didn't care about them. It's
yeah, but like now I'm getting back into it, and I'm having a lot of fun building stuff. I have a lot of stuff like lined up for future builds that I'm looking forward to. But I'm also trying to find things like put in between them, so I'm not just like the Pokemon girl.
Right. Yeah, for sure. What's kind of the like suite of both software and hardware that you're using to like approach your projects?
So I use a mix of Fusion 360 and Blender. Fusion 360 I think is free for like hobbyists or something like that.
I think they have a free version, I believe.
Yeah, I had it through my school because like if you get a school discount if you sign up using your school, but that expired, so now I have the hobby version, and then Blender's free. So that's what I use for modeling. I use Arduino for programming, and then like Botango for animatronic stuff.
Yeah, there's a plugin for Blender that I saw this guy made that it's similar to Botango, where it allows you to rig characters in Blender and like to specifically for servo motors. You can like test out your animatronics. Yeah, I'll send you the link to it. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like I love animatronics. That's like my first love, and it was for the longest time it was impossible to find YouTube videos about how to build animatronics. Like nobody was doing it. It was like it was like only theme parks pretty much. And so I constantly like looking. That's actually probably how I found you in the first place, because my YouTube, like I constantly like searching. And then once Five Nights at Freddy's came around, then like everybody started making animatronics, and it was like the thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
But before then, they were like impossible to find. And it's like one of the few people that I found who were doing it had created this plugin for Blender. It was really cool.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
really like
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. And then did you like self-teach yourself all those programs, like all the programming and the sculpting and everything like that?
For the most part, yeah. I had like a few like introductory classes in like high school for coding, and then in middle school actually we had a program for like STEM related stuff, so I learned a lot of like CAD stuff through there. We were using Autodesk Inventor, so a lot of like the basis for that started there, and that's also kind of like what started my interest in engineering. Was like those classes. So a lot of it, like the software stuff, transfers from that. But everything else, I pretty much like. Google is a helpful resource. I kind of just go crazy with it.
Yeah. Have you like integrated AI at all into your workflow? Like let's say with coding specifically. Like, do you use any of the like I know like Claude is very good with coding. Have you tried any of that?
I'll like. Very occasionally when I cannot figure something out, like troubleshooting, I'll like send it to ChatGPT, be like, hey, why is this not working? And it's ChatGPT's weird because you really still have to know coding and like what's going wrong, because you really can't just send it something and be like, can you do this for me? Because it'll write you a completely wrong code. And then I'll be like, that's wrong. And it'll be like, you're right. That is wrong. It's like, okay, cool. Thanks for helping me. It's like it's a helpful tool when you literally cannot figure something out and you know what's wrong and you tell it what's wrong and ask it to fix it. But everything else is kind of like out the window. Like I wouldn't ask ChatGPT much. Yeah.
When I first was trying to like teach myself like the kind of the basics of Arduino and servos, I was like let me see, like this is already like a few months ago, and I like was like let me just like try it, and I did it with Claude. I said like I have a servo motor hooked up to my Arduino. And I wanted to do like X, Y, and Z, like move like 90 degrees to the left and then 30 degrees to the right and 45 degrees back to the left. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't perfect, but it was like almost perfect. I was really impressed. And this is already like a number of months ago, so I assume by now it's better. I haven't tried the ChatGPT code at all. That one I haven't played around with at all.
Yeah, it's hit or miss with ChatGPT. It's not reliable.
Yeah. Are there any like technologies that you look at that are coming out now that like really excite you in the kind of the maker space, whether it's software or hardware?
Definitely printers. Printers are getting really like advanced. The H2D bamboo printer is pretty crazy. I recently got a P1S, my first P1S, and the just the user friendliness of it and like the AMS is just amazing. So printers are definitely like up there. There was one that I was just looking at this morning and I can't remember what it is. But I think another one is like the Boston Dynamics stuff. Like That's completely unrelated to Makerspace, but the dogs and stuff, those are really cool.
Yeah.
I saw a video this morning. It was like a robot that like walks and like can push itself up and stuff like that. And some kid put like boxing gloves on it, and they were having a boxing match with these robots. And I was like, "This is real steel. Wow. It's real now."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
real steel.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy, like what's happening now with technology. Like I don't know, it's kind of a little freaky.
Yeah.
We're living in the future.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's like I don't know, like this. It's both exciting and a little bit disconcerting at the same time. You know, it's like you're not sure if you're
robots
like, should I
are
be
scary?
Yeah, a little bit. To me, like I find it funny that we have this like fascination with that, like robots have to be humanoid. Like they don't. Like, they don't have to be. You know, like it doesn't have to look like a person. You know, like it just needs to serve its purpose. You know, so like it's like you think of like the what's called like the Rick and Morty, the butter robot. You know, like you know, like it doesn't look. It's okay for it to not. I don't know. We had this like obsession with making the robots look like people, and it's like I don't know why that is, because you know, if I want a robot to wash my dishes, you know, I have a dishwasher, but you know, like you know, like you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's
I don't know.
One thing that like is kind of funny to me.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I wonder if there's like a study about that, like why people are making humanoid robots, because they don't need to look that way.
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah. I don't know. Weird.
Kind of changing gears a bit. How do you go about like documenting your whole build process? Because like I know for myself, like trying to build and record and like do all of that simultaneously gets really tricky really fast. So like do you have like a system in place to kind of help yourself like stay organized, and or it's kind of just chaos?
Nope. It's complete chaos right now. So I'm actually in the process of moving. So this is the current workspace that I've been in literally since I started. We have like a full like detached garage that we're going to be upgrading and working in, and I bought like a nice camera and everything, so we'll be recording on an SD card, because right now I work on my phone, and it's so hard to organize things, especially if I'm like recording two projects at once. It's everywhere, and then like I have to figure out how to transfer videos to my laptop and then like get them all in order and cut everything together, so it's not desirable. But we're working on that. We're hopefully going to have a better setup, better quality, better everything. But
nice.
It's kind of just like, oh, I'm doing something interesting. Get a clip of it really quick, and then I just voice over it. And I would prefer it to be a little bit more organized, because like recording while you're building something is difficult. And I usually have Nick like record stuff for me, and if I can't, it's like I have to set up my phone in a weird spot and like try to look like I'm doing something interesting. So. Try
to recreate the moment. Have you considered like outsourcing like editing, let's say, or things of that nature to kind of like something like a third party, so that way you don't have to worry about that?
I have, but I need to make more money first. To pay another person, because we usually split like the money we do make from YouTube, so it's like I need to probably bring in more before I can hire like outside work. I know we just had Talon help with the throne. And so like there's some things where you kind of have to do that, but I think I can handle the editing and all that stuff up until that point. Hopefully if we get to that point, but
have you thought about like monetizing in other ways, like by selling products? Is like you said you have an Etsy, but have you considered selling like STL files or things of that nature of your builds?
Yes, I started selling the Wolverine claws on my Patreon, and it's tricky because I want to, but then like people buy it from you and they want you to help them troubleshoot everything, and it's really hard when like you've got 10 people doing that, and I'm like also trying to work at the same time, and it makes it complex, because I don't want to like leave those people hanging because they purchased something from me and I want to be able to help them, but it's hard to keep up with all of that. And so, like, things that I build aren't usually, like, 100% perfect. There's room for improvement. And so I feel kind of weird selling them and then having people deal with my problems. So, yes and no. I have definitely considered it, but I would want things to be more ironed out before I did that.
Yeah. So you said you have a Patreon. So what do you provide on the Patreon, like, behind the paywall?
It's just, like, early release content behind the scenes. I'll sometimes release, like, I think I released a Bonnie hand file there. It's like smaller stuff, but I do want to do. Apparently, they don't let you do giveaways because I was going to do a giveaway, but Patreon's really strict about that. So I do want to do a giveaway soon, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But I want to organize myself a bit more so I can actually make it like worth the pay for people.
Yeah. Do you have like a Discord also? Do you do any of that kind of like community stuff?
No, I just don't have people to like manage that for me, and like it's just there's a point where it becomes too much to juggle, and I just can't juggle it right now. So I just haven't even done it yet. Right.
So like, I'm curious, like looking to the future, what do you envision like for the Kiara's Workshop brand? What's kind of the vision?
I mean, like way in the future, it'd be cool if I got to like I mean, everybody says this, but like Adam Savage level, where it's just like, oh, Kiara made this thing, let's go watch. Like where I can just kind of make things and people are like, yeah, that's cool, that's interesting. I mean, it doesn't look much different than what I'm doing now. Because I think where I'm at right now is kind of awesome. I guess I just want to be able to do more and like get more content out is the goal. Yeah.
So like what's the biggest thing holding you back from producing more content? Just the time it takes to make the things?
Yeah, the time it takes to make it, and like I also just haven't had the appropriate space. Like this is a Jack and Jill bedroom. I'm like, this room is overflowing right now. I don't have the space for it. I don't have the, machinery, and like, honestly, like some of the money for projects, like it gets expensive. And so, that's another thing about content creation is like things cost a lot of money. And so when you decide to make a YouTube video about a build that you're really into, you have to hope that like the video does well enough to pay you back for the money that you put into it. So it's kind of a gambling game a little bit, but the two biggest components right now is like space and time. And then, when we move into the new workshop, I'll have those things, and I'll also have Nick helping me. So we can work side by side, and I could be like, hey, can you record this really quick? And he'll just pop over and record me versus like driving all the way out here. So things will become a lot more efficient. I'm hoping I can start cranking things out.
Nice. That's awesome. So you're happy with where you are. You kind of want to scale it up, but like kind of keep the same sort of vibe. That's awesome.
Scale it up and speed it up.
That's the name of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what kind of like projects do you hope to create? Because you've done the Iron Man suits, you've done the Pokemon. So like what's next? I don't know if you want to reveal too much, but
yeah. So I'm working on a new Mark 42 again. Because I've been doing the Iron Man thing for like 6 years since I started. So it was like the first thing I ever made. I did a Mark 42 for my first suit. I did a Mark 42 with the exoskeleton, and both of them didn't work out. So I'm remaking it, and this is like what I'm calling like my retirement suit, because it's my final Iron Man suit. It's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna just go all out, and I want to be able to wear it and not be in pain. So I'm taking the proper time to like actually work on it and like not pressure myself with like deadlines and content and stuff. So a lot of it's gonna be like, I'm not gonna post about it. I'm not gonna tell people about it, except for right now. People already know about it. I posted on my story, but a lot of it's going to be secret until it's done. And then I'll be like, oh, I made this thing. Here's a bunch of content about it. But until then, there's no content, because when I post content, I set like this deadline for myself in my head of like, I need to post this now. I need to get this done. I need to make this convention. And then, I cut corners and things don't come out as well as they could. I end up in pain because it's a suit of armor that ends up stabbing me in multiple places. But so I want this to be perfect. I want it to be my final suit. It's my favorite suit. I need to do it right. So that's what's happening currently behind the scenes. It's actually printing right next to me over here.
Oh, nice.
But that's a long-term goal. Another long-term goal is we want to build an R2-D2. We have a lot of friends who are droid builders. So we're actually doing R2-S8. I think it's a Droid Depot droid, and I think it's in an episode of something. I don't remember, but we call her Sadie because S8 is Sadie. Oh, nice. So we named her Sadie. But she's been sitting in our basement for a long time because I've been just working on everything else. So that's another long-term goal. That's also going to get expensive. Short-term, new Pokeball again. I'm redesigning it so it's even better than the last one, and people also just love them. So I'm just gonna keep making them. And I was thinking about doing some sort of giveaway for one of those because I have people in my DMs like every single day, like, how much for the Pokeball? How much for the Pokeball? Are you gonna sell these Pokeballs? So I'll do a giveaway. I think it'd be fun. Um, that's gonna happen.
More Pokemon though.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It's just gonna be like Pokemon, something normal. Pokemon, something normal. So I'll stagger it a little bit.
Pokemon and Iron Man would basically be the name of the game.
Yeah.
I had Michael McMaster on here a little while ago.
Nice.
And he's talking about like the whole like droid building process, and that was really cool because like his stuff is, and obviously his stuff is phenomenal. Just remind me that when you talk about the R2 unit, like because it's just really cool stuff, and like again, just the whole like maker space is just like there's like different levels of makers. You know, you have kind of like the like, I don't know, like I don't want to like say like anything negative, like, but it's like obviously with any like skill, there's like different tiers, you know.
Yeah.
And when you see people who are like doing it kind of at the higher tier, it's just like it's so fascinating to me because it's like multidisciplinary, you know, like it's not like you're just doing engineering or you're just doing sculpting or you're just doing, you know, like you kind of have to be a jack of all trades and a master of all. You know, you can't not know what you're doing in any one particular area.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's really cool to see it, how like it brings things to life. It's fascinating. Like, do you? So you're talking about production design and like the prop shop. Do you dream of working on like productions like movies or theme parks and stuff of that nature, or you really enjoy the kind of independent creator vibe?
I think I would definitely enjoy both. Having worked on set before, I can't say that I necessarily want to work on set like ever as art because it's like it's a different animal. Very high stress environment, and like as an art person, like unless you're constantly resetting something or like dealing with wardrobe or something that's like immediate, you kind of just stand around. At least that was my experience in school. So I don't really enjoy being on set as much as I enjoy like the building process and like seeing something like on screen. So I would definitely love to like work for theme parks or like make something for a film, but it's just like the set work is like just not really as much of my thing.
Yeah, I hear that. In a different note, I'm curious to ask, what are some major failures that you've had like in a project, and what have you learned from them?
My biggest failure is probably comfort in like big armor suits, and I've learned to not do that again because Iron Man suits in particular, I have literal scars on my body from suits that have not functioned correctly. Like I've got matching scars on both sides of my one of my knees because the Mark 6 legs are so pointy that like every time I stepped, the pointiness would just dig into my leg. To the point that like my friends were literally like, "No more pictures. She needs to get to the hotel. She's bleeding." And I'm like, So yeah, being trapped in an Iron Man suit that hurts is not good. That's why I'm like taking steps to like figure out mobility and comfort. A lot of that stems from like rushing, like suits of armor. If you rush, you cut corners, and then you're like, I'll deal with that later. But that ends up like biting you because you're in a suit of armor that's destroying your body. Another example is Glamrock Bonnie. That head weighs 7 pounds, and it's top heavy because of the ears. And it left like such a deep indent in my forehead that I swear I thought it was going to start bleeding. Like it was concerning. They actually made me like leave. They were like, the guys were like, you need to go back. Like you need to take that off and just go because it was really bad. And I took breaks. Like I was taking it off every 20 minutes and it was just destroying me. Yeah. So, biggest failures for
how do you fix that?
Like for Bonnie, I don't think you can. I tried to pad it like crazy. It's just so heavy. For Iron Man suits though, there's like certain, it's weird because like each suit is different because they're literally different suits. For the Mark 6, just trim it down or scale up the leg so it's not stabbing you. I was just like, well, this looks better, so I'm just going to deal with it. And it did look cool, but I was hurting myself a lot. So it's like, it's a trade-off of like, how much do you want to put up with and how do you want it to look? Another thing that I failed on, see, I consider the Pikachu V1 is kind of like a failure.
Mm.
And that one I kind of struggled with for a while because it's like, it's one thing to fail and know you failed and not be happy with what you made. It's another thing to have to post that fail on the internet and then have everybody echo that back to you. And so that's like, that was a thing I had to deal with mentally because it was like, wow, I already hate what I made. And it was a sponsored video too, so I was like, it's not like I can just throw it away and pretend it didn't happen. Um, I had to post that and just kind of live with it. And uh, I had like a week where I was like, I'm deleting this video. Like I'm just pretending it never happened. Like I can't handle the comments. And I guess my version of dealing with it was like, let's just remake it in a month and just destroy myself, which is not healthy. Don't do that. But that's what I did. At the end of the day, you kind of just have to learn to ignore comments like that. And it's easier said than done. And also
Right.
just be easy on yourself because this was like the first animatronic I ever made. And I was over here like, this looks horrible. You're a failure. Like you don't know what you're doing. And it's hard when you're in that headspace to get out of it. But I think at the end of the day, everybody just needs to remember that like, there's always room to improve and like redo things and learn. It's really not that serious. It's a weird little like maker hobby. Like it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah. When you're dealing with these problems, like, do you have a way that you approach like troubleshooting, or is it? I guess it really is kind of unique to each project. But like, how do you deal with those challenges and kind of work with it, like, and try and make it work?
Um, with the Iron Man suit, I'm right now. So I'm trying to like basically make the armor like as mobile as possible, so pieces are going to move around and stuff. I think it's all dependent on. It really is dependent on the project. I'm trying to think of like how to answer that in like a logical way. Like with Pikachu, I think Pikachu's probably easier to answer in that, where it's like I kind of just made do. Like the fur wasn't working out, so I went to like some fur distributor and I found something that looked pretty good, and you kind of just work with what you got, and then you plan to remake it later. It's kind of like I feel like making things is like an endless cycle of like I'll do that better the next time I remake it. Like I don't know if anybody's ever fully content with like anything they make. So it's tricky because it's like it's also I feel like people define their failures very differently as like other people do. So it's a tricky one to answer.
Yeah, yeah. So like, it's interesting because you seem to have this attitude of like just put it out there, as in like get it done, put it out there, and we can kind of revisit it later and try again. You're not afraid to just like, as in I think a lot of people kind of have like they allow the perfectionism of it to prevent them from putting it out there because they're like, no, it needs to be perfect before I put it out there. And you seem to kind of have this approach of like, no, like I make it as best as I can, set whatever deadline I have, put it out, and then if I don't like it, I could just kind of go back and revisit it. Has that always been your attitude, or is that something that you've developed like just in kind of the YouTube journey?
I don't know because I feel like I'm definitely like a perfectionist, but in a different way. I guess I'm like perfectionist in the way where it's like I'm never satisfied, and I know I'm gonna remake it later because I'm not happy like 100%, but I'm happy enough that I'll post it and just be like, here's something I made, probably gonna fix XYZ. And that's another thing I do too. Like I'll literally like point out the mistakes I made. And like some people will be like, oh, I didn't even notice that. And I'll be like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said anything, but I can't stop doing that for some reason. But I guess at like when I post it, I'm happy with it. And then like I think the more I look at it, I'm like, well, I could have done this better. Or like somebody points something out and I'm like, oh, I could have done that better. Because usually at the end of a build, I've like kind of like fought for my life for a month, like trying to get this thing done. And so there is a sense of like pride of like, yeah, I did this and I did it in this period of time. So I think that has definitely changed because when I used to draw a lot, I would be like totally embarrassed with like certain drawings and like progress on drawings until the final product. And so I wouldn't post anything unless I was totally happy with it, or I wouldn't show
Yeah.
people. I hated when people would like look over my shoulder when things weren't done, because I'm like, don't look at it. It looks like horrible. Like you can't look at it
Yeah.
until it's
Yeah.
done. So I think it has changed a little bit, but I do think a lot of it has to do with like the sense of like I worked really hard to make this. I'm gonna post it no matter what.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes
Mm.
sense. But yeah, yeah. And I think it's it's a good attitude to have of like, again, working hard in it and putting it out there. And again, like it's okay to make those mistakes. And it's okay to like have a V2 and a V3 and a V4. You know, like
Mhm.
that's, which I think, again, I think the difference between the people who like are successful versus not are the people who understand that. You know, like as in you're the people who kind of will just sit and ideate and try and try and try and never put it out there. And
Yeah.
then you can't grow that way. It's just not.
Mhm.
That's not there's no way to improve if you don't actively kind of take those leaps.
Mhm. I feel like if you
Yeah.
wait for perfection, you're never gonna post anything, because
Right.
it's so hard, and I'd say almost impossible to actually reach perfection, especially because like if you're
Right.
posting on the internet, there's always going to be one person that says it's like it's bad or like it's not perfect, and then
Right.
you're going to be like, well, that guy says it's not good, so it's not good, and now I'm not going to post it. So
Right.
I do think it is good to post no matter what, and then it's also like it's kind of cool because people can visually see your progress, and like you've got
Yeah.
old stuff, like you've
Yeah.
got the V1 out, and then you post the V2, and like that's what happened with Pikachu. People were commenting on my V2, and they were like, "Oh my god, you should go show this to the haters from V1. Like they're gonna be blown away." Like it's a visual progression, and people can see you improving, and a lot of people like to see that too. So I think it's
Yeah.
also inspiring to people who struggle to like actually follow through with projects and like work towards progress and post their content and stuff. Like it, you don't have to be perfect to post it. Just get it out. Like put the
Yeah.
work in, get it done, post it, and then revisit it if you want to. Like it's really not that deep. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like,
That's true.
yeah, I mean it's, and if people are taking it that way, then like they've got the wrong mindset. Like people who
Right.
look at people trying to improve and like hate on them, you don't need to listen to those people. Like they got nothing
Right.
on you. They're not trying.
Right. No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I'm curious, like, what do you think are, like, if someone's somebody who wants to get into the maker space, who wants to start making these projects, what do you think are like the most important skills to have? And like, where should people invest there? If they have like a skill tree, where do they invest first?
That's tricky. I have to think about that one. I guess okay. It depends. I hate that all my answers start with "it depends," but it's like I do feel like a lot revolves around 3D printing right now.
Mm.
So I would say like some knowledge of 3D printing or 3D design would be very helpful. Even if you're not 3D printing, it helps to have like a 3D mock-up. Like the throne that we built for Lenovo, that whole thing was wood. So we built that in Blender and used that as reference to build out of wood. So having, I think, 3D modeling or just 3D design experience is extremely helpful. Learning how to just make things that are like dimensionally accurate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think 3D printing in general is kind of, I don't know if it's like the future, but it's definitely gonna be a big part of it. Like
Yeah.
across industries, I think. Like it really seems to be, you know, yeah, like a few people have said, like it's kind of in its infancy right now, and you definitely see it. I mean, the advances we're seeing in the technology is like leaps and bounds, and it's happening pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like there's just some amazing products out there already, and more that are like coming out. I've already mentioned like a few times on here. There's this one product called Flow V, and it's a 3D printer that also is an injection molder. So you can like
Wow.
3D print you 3D print the mold, and then like it has like this like the what's it called, the A and B resin, and you like with a nozzle you like shoot it into the mold, and it, like, so you could have like instead of spending hours printing something, you could have like pieces in seconds. It's a really cool
crazy.
product. It's like
Wow.
$600 or something like that. And it's like a
Oh my
tabletop
God.
thing.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. Like there's some really cool products out there that, and again, they're constantly innovating. So like you're getting just new, cooler products all the time that are just like the cutting edge, and it's really exciting. Like you mentioned before, the H2D. I haven't played around with it, but I've seen a few people like talk about it, and like a lot of people when it first was announced, people were kind of like, "What am I going to do with two nozzles? Like, what's the point?" And then I saw somebody talking about it, how you can do like two different materials in the same print, which is like crazy because you can have like like hard and soft parts, and like it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also like, crap, I don't remember what it was called, but there was a 3D printer that it like prints the item, but also like prints in color on top of the item. And I don't remember what it's called, but it was like a desktop unit, and it was really expensive, but you could basically replicate any item like 1-to-1, and it was really cool. And I saw that and I was like, that's kind of groundbreaking. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they even freaking print like full houses now. Like they've got those big like concrete like 3D printers. It's crazy like what people are doing with 3D printing. I mean,
yeah. No, like in theory, like not to like oversimplify, but like in theory, the technology is not that crazy complicated. Like it's fairly straightforward if you think about it. So it's more the applications. I think that's where the tricky part gets. But like, and then they're also kind of like they're not called, I want to call it like fringe, but they're more like things that are like being done like with like the 3D printing meat and these like things that like it just makes me wonder of like in 10 years from now, like what's it going to look like what kind of technology are we going to have in just specifically in 3D printing, like that we never could have even imagined, you know, like, because it's happening fast. It really, I spoke to one person who has one of like those massive 3D printers, like the kind that you can like stand inside of,
I have one of those.
And like, oh really?
Yeah, the Gigastorm, the Elegoo printers, I think.
His isn't an Elegoo. His is like
is
like
it bigger?
Literally like his is like literally like the size of a room.
Oh, I don't have
like,
that.
he's not like a hobbyist. Like he has a company, it's called Figure Plant, and they do like art installations. And so they have this like massive 3D printer, and they 3D printed like the grill of a truck as like kind of like a promo for it's like but again, he's explained to me how it works. Like it's not your it's not your Elegoo or your bamboo. It's a little bit more like finicky because of like all the material is using or whatever. But still, just the fact that it's possible is crazy. The fact that you can do these things is like just insane.
Yeah, my I guess when I hear printer you could stand in, I'm like, yeah, that's like the Gigastorm, because like I mean a 5-foot person could stand in it. You could technically stand in it. Yeah, it's big, but it's not that big.
Yeah, no, there's a trade show in Germany that's like a whole 3D printing trade show.
Yeah,
and there's somebody, I forget who the name, but someone on Instagram who like is like their whole page is like about 3D printing. Like that's like their thing. And she went to this trade show, and she was showing off like some of the printers there. And it was just insane. Like they were like 3D printing like furniture, and like it was crazy what they were doing.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like I'm really excited about where it's heading and like what's gonna be in the future.
Yeah, it'll be like 3D printing cars or something. Instead of flying cars, we get 3D printed cars.
3D printing self-driving cars. Yeah. No, like who knows? Like, and again, I think there gonna be applications that we can't even imagine. Also, that like totally are gonna blow us away. And like, how do we not see that coming? But
I think they 3D print like
that's the way it goes.
Organs and stuff now too. I think that's something I saw.
So. I think they're working on that.
That's crazy. It's all crazy. That's wild.
Yeah. This is a question I post all my guests. So I'll put it out there now, and that is, how do you define success?
I think success is when you're genuinely happy with what you're doing, and like you feel like you're contributing something, because like anybody can have like money and like followers and stuff. Like that's cool. I wouldn't say no to money, but I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel like I'm doing something good and helping someone else and like genuinely happy. Like I mean, you could work like a 9 to 5 and make like 100K a year, and you could be happy with that because like money makes people happy. But I personally, I want to love what I do, and I think that's where I am at now. Like I really do love making things, um, and I'm really fortunate with what I'm able to like I can just kind of make stuff, and it pays the bills, and that's really cool. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I think being successful is being happy, like with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. All these like sayings about like, if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And you said that kind of early on about this idea, how like you feel like you're just kind of doing your hobby. You're just like doing what you love. You don't even like think of it as work. It's just like I'm just making things that I want to make.
I
It's kind
remember
of the
last open source, I was in like an Uber with like another creator, and he asked me um, like if there's something you could change about what you're doing right now with like your career, like you're like making stuff, like what would you change? And I was like, I don't think I want to change anything. Like I'm doing exactly what I want to do, and like that's really like the sweet spot. Like, and I wish more people could say that because like being able to love what you do is like seriously like I feel it's kind of rare nowadays. I feel like with like the economy and jobs and all that stuff, like it's a very fortunate place to be in, and I'm really thankful that like it ended up this way. Um, but yeah, like loving what you do is a awesome thing, and I feel like
yeah.
I'm somewhat successful in that area.
Yeah. Yeah. Were there times that you felt like were there times that you felt like it wasn't going to work out and you weren't going to do this, or did it always kind of like from early on, was it kind of, did it pick up steam quickly?
It definitely did not pick up steam quickly. I worked really freaking hard to like grow a following and like do what I do. And I still wouldn't say I'm making like, crazy money, and I feel totally confident in what I do right now as a job, but um, it's still gradually picking up steam. Um, yeah, it never really was like I can 100% do this and I feel totally confident where I'm going. Like I graduated college and I was like, I'll give myself a year to try to make this work as a job, and if it seems like it's coming to fruition, then I'll go with it, and that's what I ended up doing. And just recently it started to pick up a little bit more, and so I feel a little bit more confident, and like that's why I'm moving and all that stuff. But it definitely was not like an overnight thing for me. It's still kind of a slow burn. So it's a weird spot because I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy with what I do. I would like to, make a little bit more money and feel like secure in that aspect. But in terms of like general happiness, I'm a lot better doing this than like working a 9 to 5.
Right. No question about it. Yeah. Yeah. How long did it take you to like you set yourself this deadline of a year? Like how long did it take you till you felt like, oh yeah, like this does have legs?
It probably hit like the middle of last year where I was like, yeah, this is something that I could like make something out of. Because I started getting like bigger brand deals. Like I got Transformers and Alien, and those were two big ones. And I was like, okay, like if I can make this stuff work, then like I can do this full time. Because like there's no like hiding that like that stuff pays well. It's because they're big builds, it's promoting big franchises, and they usually give you a very tight deadline. And so that's usually like the challenge of it is like very few people want to take that on. And so there's a limited pool for people who will take that. And unfortunately, sometimes that's me because I like to hurt myself. The Alien build was 11 days. That was very difficult, but I'm
they call
derailing it a
you
little
have
bit.
11 days to do this. Like that was the deadline they gave you.
So they hit up two of my other friends, and my other friends told them it was impossible. And so I was like, tell them, like, send them to me. And they came to me, and I was like, I'll take it. And then I did it. So stuff like that is really what pays the bills. You know, when a YouTube video does really well, that pays the bills. Um, so it's like it's really sometimes like gambling, because it's like if you don't get a deal for a few months, oh no. If you don't have a good
Right.
YouTube video, oh no. But that's also why it's a good
Right.
thing to have like the prop shop, because the prop shop is like income as well. So there is some sort of a backup and some sort of job aside from social media. So it's not like if I don't make a video or I don't get a deal, I'm like totally screwed. Um, you know, there is a backup plan and all that stuff, but um, it's an interesting place to be. And I don't think my parents
Yeah.
ever imagined that I would be like a content creator on the internet with like such a sporadic income, but here I am.
Yeah. Yeah. What
Yeah.
they want you to be, what they envision for you.
I don't think they ever had like set expectations. They were kind of like
Uh-huh.
they're very supportive. My mom was always
great.
very supportive of like my art stuff, and when I was a kid, she was always buying me like art supplies and basically like anything I get into, she gets into, because I think she just loves to support me, and it's a really like I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I am in general. But my dad
Yeah.
does home improvement, so I'm also handy because of him, because you know he has a lot of tools and been around that for my entire life. So
Yeah.
they never really
Definitely
had
helped.
like a set goal. They weren't like you need to be a doctor or like you need to be a banker or an accountant or anything. It was just kind
Yeah.
of like do what makes you happy. If you don't like this, then don't do that. Go do something else instead. So yeah.
That's amazing to have that support. Like
Mhm.
that's like the most important, kind of
Yeah.
thing in all of this is like if you have a good support system, like anything is possible.
Mhm.
Like if not, well, it makes things a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Where can everybody find you online and all the YouTube, socials, all the good stuff?
Kira's Workshop on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, pretty much everything. There's usually an underscore in between Kira's and Workshop. So if there's not, might not be me. There is somebody who made like a Kira's Workshop website, and that is not me. It's very weird.
That is a little.
I don't have a
off-putting.
website, so that's not me. But everything else is Kira's underscore Workshop.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And it was lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, of course. It was awesome to be on.